Never in my life have I ever questioned why the hell I watched this movie. This movie made me question my sanity and really made me realize that I just love to torture myself. What I love is to review movies like this for you guys. Okay, guys, you need to understand that. That's why I do this. That's why. Hey guys, it's Kevin again, and this is going to be my epic rant. Why did I watch this movie? I don't even know why I watched this movie. I found this movie on Solar Movie. I wanted to watch a movie. I figured, you know what, this is pretty short. Let's just do it. And I'm going to be reviewing Madea's Tough Love. Now, let me talk about this movie. I was definitely not looking forward to it. This movie was literally just, I was not looking forward to it at all. I thought this movie looked absolutely terrible. It didn't look good at all to me. And let's talk about the Madea character for a second. I actually have never really liked the Madea character. I haven't found her funny. I've tried to like her character. I've watched a bunch of Madea movies. I watched Diary of a Mad Black Woman. I didn't find it very funny. And the problems with that movie is that the thing that I don't like that Tyler Perry does is Madea started off as a soap opera with like a bunch of like a very adult drama. It was with Madea mixed in there as comedy. That's how Madea started out. And so what Tyler Perry does in his movies, it just does not work, where he has the comedic elements and the dramatic elements. It does not work, and I've never really found her character funny. She seemed way too of a one-joke character to me. Literally, her character, she's an angry grandma who's tough, and that's her character. She didn't seem interesting to me. There's nothing about her that I find interesting. I just don't like her character. I don't find her interesting. And then, of course, Tyler Perry's thing, hey, Madea's so successful, let's turn it into a straight-on comedy. He made Madea's Witness Protection, which I've heard nothing about, and then he made a Madea Christmas, which came out 2 years ago, and I heard nothing about it. Then he made this movie. He thinks, you know what, this appeals to kids, let's make it into a kids movie. Why would you make this into a kids movie? How do you go from an adult drama and turn it into a kids movie? Like, it does not work. That's literally what this movie is, and I'm just gonna tell you guys right now, this movie fucking sucks. I hated this movie, and I hated everything about it. It is the worst movie I've seen all year so far. I absolutely hate it. Thank God I did not see, like, The Boy Next Door or something. Thank God this movie was direct to DVD, too, because I did not want to see this shit in theaters. Thank God it wasn't, so people don't have to suffer through this. And I'm gonna tell you guys why it's so stupid. Let's get to the plot of Madea's Tough Love. Just from the plot, you should see why it's so stupid. Here's the plot of Madea's Tough Love, and I'm not kidding, this is literally the plot. Madea's sitting at home, she's watching TV, and she sees this TV show where she sees these boys that are like in a gang, and they don't get along very well. They're cursing at each other, they're fighting with each other, they're not being respectful, they have no respect whatsoever, and Madea wants to, like, put a stop to this. She's like, oh, I wish I could do something about this. So she sees this button on her TV remote that says, like, push here, and it says, don't push this button, and of course she pushes the button, and magically she goes into the TV, and for the rest of the movie, it's a cartoon Madea, and she wants to save these kids and everything. She wants to, but what ends up happening to her is that she ends up getting on probation by the law, and she ends up working on community service with these kids, and basically wants to have some tough love on them to get them to basically grow up. And there's also this subplot where the town's being torn down, and I don't give a shit about anything about this movie. I don't give a fuck about this movie. I don't give a fuck about the plot. I don't give a fuck about anything about this movie. I think this movie is so dumb, and I'm gonna talk about why it's so dumb. Let's talk about this movie. First of all, it's a kids movie with Madea, and I'm gonna talk about why it does not work. Let's get to the acting in this movie. Madea is done for, okay? Tyler Perry as Madea. You have been playing this character for years now. I think that Madea started in 2004 or 2006. That's when it started. 2004, I think. That's when it started. And this character needs to retire, okay? She's not funny anymore. There's nothing in this movie that she does that made me laugh. There's nothing in this movie, nothing that Madea did in this movie made me laugh. Nothing about her. She's just saying the same jokes over and over again. She's doing this typical catchphrase. She's doing what you expect her to do in the movie. She's crazy. She's yelling about things. She's screaming at people. She's whipping people into shape. But her character's not interesting. If they would have done something more interesting with Madea and actually made her different in this cartoon world, that actually could have been interesting to see. But they didn't didn't do that. They made her the exact same character, and they made her do nothing in the movie. May I also say that there is literally no build up to this movie. 4 minutes into this movie, she's in the cartoon world. That's how rushed this movie is, and I'm sorry, but this character is done for. She's also like randomly cursing a lot and things like that, and this is supposed to be a kids movie, and I don't even think this movie would appeal to kids. Everyone else in this movie is absolutely terrible. There's nobody in this movie that gave a good performance whatsoever. Everyone in this movie was just terrible. Borderline terrible. No one is giving a good performance. No one is even trying to give a good performance. They're not giving a good performance. This movie's trying to have like a huge message and everything. I'm going to talk about the problems with this movie as well. The directing is the main problem in this movie. This director, Frank Marino, he's done one other movie, and that is a Jeff Dunham like animated movie. If you know anything about Jeff Dunham, you know he is extremely dirty and extremely raunchy. And I gotta say this, I really love when kids movies, you know, I don't really love a lot of these kids movies, but I really like a good anime movie. You guys know there are some I really liked. I really loved How to Train Your Dragon 2. I thought that was a very good movie, the Lego movie, and recently Paddington. I thought Paddington was a very good movie, you know, with comedic moments for kids and also dramatic elements for adults and also some good messages for adults and kids, and the movie that kids and adults alike can enjoy. And this movie's for neither of them, because this movie literally... Nothing about this movie is funny. Nothing about it is anything that I don't think a kid would find this movie funny. If I was a kid and I watched this movie, I probably would not laugh because nothing about this movie is really funny. Nothing about it I find interesting. It was boring to me. It really was. I didn't find the movie funny. And literally it felt like a Saturday morning cartoon at points. It really did. And the director does not know what he wants to do with this movie because there are so many moments in this movie, and it's really weird. As I said, the Madea movies were originally very dramatic, and this movie tries to keep that because there are certain parts of this movie where the movie suddenly gets dramatic, and then they just abandon it and don't go back to it, and it's a comedic movie again. And it does not work. Because here's the problem with this movie. When you have a tone in your movie, when you want to switch it from being comedic to dramatic, you have to keep that tone maintained throughout the movie. This movie does not know how to do that. This movie will randomly go dramatic and then be comedic, and then it'll be like as if nothing else happened. And that happens 2 times in this movie. 2 times, and neither time does it work. It happens for like a minute, and then Medea's like, well, I gotta do something about this. And then suddenly it just goes away. And it does not work in this movie at all. It did not work. And I understand it's a kids movie. And I know what you guys are saying, why are you being so nitpicky about a kids movie? Because it's a Madea kids movie. It's the fact that this thing even exists. That's what I'm so upset about, is the fact that this even exists. The only good thing I can say about this movie. Also, let me say this about the movie. The editing in this movie is 64 minutes long, and it felt like 2 hours to me. It was so hard to get through. 4 minutes into this movie, I was bored. 4 minutes in, literally, the part where she goes in the TV from there, I was bored. I was completely out of the movie. I didn't care what was going on. I didn't care about anything that was going on in the movie. I didn't care about the villain in the movie. I didn't care about the kids. None of those kids have anything likable to them. None of the kids. There's nothing interesting about any of the kids. Literally, here are the kids. Medea's trying to help them. That's it. We don't get any character development from them. There's no character development from anyone in this movie. This movie's literally like, fuck character development. We're just gonna have Madea, like, yell at some kids for an hour, and suddenly they're just gonna listen to her. Like, it feels so forced. The relationship between Madea and the kids doesn't even feel like it should be there. It seems so forced. I don't think Madea would really do this for them. Now, the only thing I can say about this movie that I think was good, the only thing, is that the animation was hand-drawn, and I applaud the movie for doing that because it's a lot harder to do hand-drawn animation than it is to do computer animation. A lot of movies don't do that nowadays. Now, but the problem is the animation looked like The Proud Family, and a lot of times I felt like I was watching The Proud Family, and The Proud Family was a lot more entertaining than this. Yeah, I watched The Proud Family. I've seen episodes of it. It's very entertaining. This is not entertaining at all, and it's really unfortunate that it's entertaining. It's really unfortunate that Madea characters come to this, and I really feel the Madea character is just done for after this movie. And there's so many generic twists in this movie. Everything about this movie is just so damn generic. There's a random montage in the last 5 minutes of this movie. Just randomly out of nowhere there's a montage, and it does not work at all. It does not work. Nothing in this movie works, and this movie's trying to get some sort of message in there. And at first I thought the message of this movie is that tough love, you gotta be tough on kids and then they'll learn. But then, of course, the end of the movie, and I'm gonna get to the spoilers in this movie, which I know you guys don't care about, but I'm still gonna talk about the spoilers to this movie. And because I need to. I need to talk about how stupid the spoiler is to this movie. And also, guys, this movie's extremely predictable. And I know what you guys are saying. It's a kid's movie. It's gonna be predictable. I don't care. This movie is too predictable. The second that we focus on these kids, and the second we're introduced to this villain, I'm like, they're gonna tear down the town. What happens? They start tearing down the property. They do. They start tearing down property, and the kids start running away, and basically here's what I thought about, with the kids. I'm like, okay, they're going to be rude to Madea at first, but eventually they're just going to warm up to her. That happens way too late in the movie. Literally, way too late in the movie, they start to care for her. And there was no point in the movie where I just felt any sort of... I didn't care about any other characters. Not even Madea. I didn't even care about her. I didn't even care that two of the characters from the Madea movies, Joe and Brian, were in this movie because they contributed nothing. They literally contributed nothing to this movie. Nothing whatsoever. And the other thing about this movie that I hate, now we have to talk about the twist of this movie, which I think is the dumbest thing ever, and let's just get to it. So, at the end of the movie, Madea wakes up and realizes that this whole thing was just a dream. So, you take me on this movie for an hour, you make me sit through this cartoon, and then it's just a dream. So basically, this movie was completely pointless, and there was nothing to say about it. There was nothing that was interesting about it. There was nothing that you even get to walk away from. Literally, she's like, it was a dream, and then she sees the credits are ending, and the button was never there, and it's just like, seriously? A dream. That's the best you can do. A dream! This movie was a dream! And it's like an hour long, and there's nothing interesting about it. Why would Madea dream this? Why would she dream that she wanted to help these kids? Like, why would she dream about it? Honestly, it does not make sense to me why it's a dream. Literally, when they did that, I'm like, I am done with this movie. Okay, there's nothing they can do now, and that's literally how the movie ends. And it's so dumb. It's the way this movie's constructed. And also, may I say, this movie's extremely fast-paced, but I still felt so bored while watching it. It's an hour long. It's an hour long. I felt so bored while watching it. Never have I wanted a movie to end more. I talked about how I couldn't wait for Cake to end. Oh, that is nothing compared to how much I wanted this movie to end. The second I started this movie, I'm like, I cannot wait for this thing to end. I cannot wait for this thing to end so I can rant about how stupid this movie is. And I tried to have fun with this movie. I'm going to be honest, guys. I tried to have fun with it. I did. Because, as I said, there are certain kids' movies where I try to find good elements to them. You can't have fun with this movie. I tried to. You can't have fun with it. There's nothing about it. I said, even kids would not like this movie. And, literally, why would they make this a kids' movie? It does not work. Madea does not fit into this world. And it literally seemed like it was, parodying it, and it's just so dumb, and it does not work at all. There's nothing about the movie that works. The whole movie is just Madea yelling at people, trying to get people, and they also make this movie seem like the funniest thing ever. There's so many scenes where Medea's in probation, and she has, this ankle bracelet, and it's saying things to her, and the way the ankle bracelet works, and it's so dumb with what they do with Medea's character. They try to make her, the funniest thing ever in this movie, and nothing about it is funny. When you try to make something, the funniest thing ever, it doesn't work that way. When you do it subtly, and don't throw it in our faces constantly, don't repeat the same jokes over and over again, it's actually kind of funny. But this movie just repeats the same things over and over again, and just... Why? Tyler Perry, I got one thing to say to you. Make a movie that's not Madea, because it's not working anymore. It hasn't worked for years. The character was never funny, in my opinion. You're very good in movies like Gone Girl. I heard Tyler Perry's Temptation was actually a pretty good movie. I want him to make more movies like that. Don't make movies with Madea. It's that simple. Don't make movies like Madea, because they're not good. They're not good, and the character sunk to a whole new low. This is the worst movie I've seen of the year so far. Absolutely hate it. There was nothing I liked about this movie ever. I wasn't even looking forward to it, and it was so much worse than I thought it was going to be, and I could not stand this movie. Please don't make another movie like this, because it's really stupid that they keep making movies like this. I really hope this is the last straw. This better be the last straw. Unfortunately, people are actually enjoying this movie. Why? I don't know. I don't know why they're enjoying this movie. Maybe because they are watching the animation and think it's somewhat good what they're watching. The animation literally is the only good thing about this movie. The animation's really good, but that's it. That's all I can say about this movie that is good about it. Literally, this movie is just so stupid. I absolutely hate it, and just... No, don't make another movie like this. If they make a sequel to this movie, I'm going to be pissed out of my mind. I will definitely review it for you guys, but if they make a sequel, I'm pissed out of my mind. Don't buy this DVD, guys. Don't rent it. Don't watch it. Don't do anything. Please. Anything. Spend an hour doing something. Literally. As I said, this is an hour-long movie. That is to the equivalent of an HBO or Showtime episode. Those move so much quicker than this, and that so much happens in those shows. But nothing happens in this movie at all, and it's so boring, and nothing interesting happened. And that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in my next video, which will be my review for tonight's episode of Glee, which hopefully is better than this piece of shit. And I'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye. And again, guys, sorry if you guys like this movie. I just could not stand this movie, and I could not wait for it to end. And definitely, this movie gets a 0. 0. 0. There's nothing I could say about this. There's nothing I liked about this movie. Not a single thing except the animation. So, maybe not a 0, but half a star. Half a star because the animation was good, and that's literally it. So, that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed this review. Just don't watch this movie. And please, just get rid of the damn Madea character. I don't care about the Popo. I don't care about the Hellers. I don't care about how many times you say those things. I don't care about how tough you are. They also try to focus on Madea's childhood in this movie for some reason. And it's the dumbest thing ever. They try to make us sympathize with her. It does not work. And there's nothing about this movie that worked. Nothing about it paid off. And it all was just a huge, huge train wreck. Alright, done ranting. See you guys in my next video, and I'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.